So one of the things you're going to have to do is to find these MSDS sheets. And so what you can see here is I've Googled sodium hypochlorite SDS. And so a few years ago, probably 5 or 6, they began shifting the term material safety data sheet to simply SDS, which is safety data sheet. And so most of the time now you're going to see a mixture. You're going to see MSDS and also SDS. So sodium hypochlorite is bleach, essentially. It's the active ingredient in bleach. So I Googled sodium hypochlorite, SDS, and the first thing I see is a Fisher Scientific link. This is a chemical company, reputable website. And I click it, and it opens up a 7-page document. So if I was to buy sodium hypochlorite, a 13% solution from Fisher Scientific, they would provide this to me. If I lost it, I could always go online and find it. It gives you the product name and then some supplier details, which will change depending on who you're buying it from. And then we're going to have a series of sections. And so section 2, this is hazards identification, important section. You're going to see here there are all these little symbols. So this one suggests corrosive. It's also an irritant. Signal word, it tells you danger. Maybe corrosive to metals, could cause serious eye damage, skin irritation, toxic to aquatic life with long-lasting effects. Then it tells you to keep out of reach of children, wear protective gloves. If it's in your eye, rinse cautiously with water for several minutes. Remove contact lenses if present and easy to do. Then it goes on to tell you what happens if you get it on your skin, and then how to dispose of the contents. Then we're going to have what's called the NFPA ratings. That's this diamond right here with the blue, red, yellow, and the white. Tells you the health ranking, the flammability, the physical hazard, and personal protection. The higher the number, the more hazardous on a scale of 0 to 4, with 0 being none and 4 being highest. Then there's going to be a section with ingredients, a section on first aid measures. Tells you all the different routes of exposure that you might see and how to handle them. Symptoms and effects, both acute and delayed. So this is great. Irritation, nausea, headache, shortness of breath. So just because you don't see the results of the effects now doesn't mean that you won't after some time. Section 5 is what to do if there's a fire involving this chemical and how to handle it, how you could advise firefighters. Accidental release measures, so say that there is a large exposure, a large spill, how you should handle them. How you should handle and store it. So storage is a question we often want to know, is how can I safely store this? And this is the section you'll find that. Then exposure controls, personal protection. So very clearly here you can see goggles and gloves. That's what these symbols mean. We could also read what it says about respiratory protection, gloves, eye protection. Engineering controls are usually things like working in a fume hood, working with I can't think of what they're called, respirators to cover to help you breathe. Those are examples. Then there's physical and chemical properties, and so these are important sometimes for scientists, but sometimes they might be important for you. It says that the flammability, it's not determined, so we don't really know if it's flammable or not. In all of our temperatures we have, it doesn't seem to be. It's not explosive, which is great. It says that the odor is chlorine-like, so that would help you identify a smell. If you thought that you could smell chlorine, it might be bleach. Stability and reactivity, it's non-reactive under normal conditions, decomposes slowly, so those are all important things for us. Then it tells us the conditions to avoid. Do not expose it to excess heat, light, combustible materials, things it's not compatible with, metals, ammonia, strong reducing agents, methanol, strong acids, formic acid, amines, ammonium salts. So ammonia is another household chemical, and a lot of people keep ammonia and bleach together, but they are incompatible. It produces a nauseous gas that could render you unconscious. You should never pour them down the drain together, okay? So this is where you find out that information. So just because it is a household chemical does not mean it's not dangerous. Then it talks about toxic information. It's not known to be a carcinogen, a mutagen, a reproductive toxin. So those are important things to look at. We know that it's not good for the environment. But this will tell you some ecological information. Then you have waste disposal recommendations, and then you're going to end with transport and regulatory. Now, the regulatory and the transport information is not necessarily helpful to us. It's not something that we're usually going to consider information when we're looking at the MSDS sheet. So now that you've watched this video, go to the practice assignment, complete it, and then move on to the second half.